Athletics Now reviews the second week of action in the world of running. First, we take a look at the USA Marathon Trials, which is the absolute test to determine the 3 men and women who will represent the United States at the 2012 Olympic Games. Next, we review the 40th edition of the Houston Marathon as a host of top-flight Ethiopians take on the challenge of course records of the half marathon and the full marathon standards. Athletics Now ventures to India, where we check out the 9th running of the Mumbai Marathon. Athletics Now digs into the ancient sport of cross-country running as we head to Seville, Spain, and check out the 30th Cross International Italia. And finally, Athletics Now heads to Israel and the Tiberas Marathon. Houston, deep in the heart of Texas, is this year's host of the United States Marathon Trials for men and women. The United States Olympic team is picked completely on the merit of top 3 places today. No selectors or committees, you earn it today. Ryan Hall, the defending trials champion, started the fireworks and led from the start and dismantled any hope of a slow tactical race. A 3-mile split of 14 minutes, 30 seconds put things in quick perspective. Meanwhile, if that wasn't enough excitement, the women's race was started a mere 15 minutes after the men's to add to the buzz. The women's race started out a bit more pedestrian than the men's, as the first 3-mile split was passed in a leisurely 17 minutes 38 second pace. The race favorite for many, Desiree Davila, took the tentative lead from the gun, but the head of the spear changed numerous times among the heavyweight crowd of Davila, Goucher, Flanagan, and Hastings. 2004 Olympic bronze medalist Dina Castor never led, but taunted the front pack, a haunting phoenix-like presence of her glory days. Was Dina finally back? Meanwhile, back on the men's side, the lively pace that Hall registered from the beginning was still in effect. The men's lead pack is essentially a race among 5 to determine 3. Hall, Abdirahman, Mev, Dathan Ritzenheim, and Mo Trefay. But a 1:12:49 15-mile split put the final cramp in Mo's stride, and then there were 4. This was the trailing pack, out of contention for Olympic team honors, but still cruising along at a 2:09 marathon pace. All world-class runners who would make most Olympic teams in the world. But the USA Olympic Marathon team has only room for 3, and this group must have 1 more member to satisfy its dubious honor. Up front by mile 19, Dathan Ritzenheim seemed to be slowly slipping to the head of the chase pack. On the women's side, the pack was now 4, with Castor hanging on to spot number 5, watching probably her last Olympics go to the new kids. By mile 21, the men's race was essentially sorted out as Abdi Rahman was struggling to maintain 3rd, while Hall, who had blown the race open from the start, was safe in 2nd, as Mev was the happiest man in Texas today as he recorded the win and a new personal best of 2:09:08. Ryan Hall, the man responsible for the Texas heat, makes it official in 2:09:30. And Abdi manages to hold off the hard-charging Ritz and takes the last Olympic ticket, thank you, in 2:09:47. On the women's side, Amy Hastings is sitting in the worst seat in the house today, 4th place, as the Olympic tickets are secured among this group of 3. Goucher drops off somewhere in the 22.5-mile zone, unable to hang with Flanagan and Davila. Davila and Flanagan slug it out for the next 3 miles, but with a mile left to go, Davila has nothing left to counter the 2008 Olympic 10,000-meter bronze medalist Flanagan. Flanagan proves she is the real deal as she crosses the line in a trials record of 2:25:38. Clearly the class of the field as Davila hangs in for a solid 2nd place in 2:25:55, while Goucher crosses the line in 2:26:06 for 3rd. Athletics Now heads to Mumbai, India, and the 9th version of the Standard Charter Mumbai Marathon. The elite marathon field represents 1,400 of more than 35,000 people who turn out today and participate in a day of athletic activities. Tops among the athletes is a collection of Ethiopians brought in to attempt to revise the record books of the Mumbai Marathon course, a course that is filled with perhaps more diversity of dance and oddities than any marathon in the world. The women's side of the race is going to be an Ethiopian affair as a group of about 15 runners were brought in with the exclusive challenge of reworking the course record. A flat course, great weather conditions, and a collection of pacemakers contributed to the respectable 15-kilometer time of 46 minutes 32 seconds at the big motorway crossover. Still huddled together, the large group of runners was fronted by the Kenyan, John Kiwi, whose up-tempo led to a number of runners falling off the lead pack. On the women's side, Nestan Abeyo was leading a pack of 6 compatriots behind 2 male pacemakers across the overpass bridge and through a 15-kilometer time of 51 minutes 47 seconds, well ahead of record schedule. As the men entered their final mile phase, the record chase was dashed thanks to a mob of Mumbai road congestion. However, it was a tight 3-pack of determined men, 2 Kenyan and 1 Ethiopian, racing to the finish line and a first prize of $36,000. Asafa, longtime leader Kiwi, and Laban Moibin were the final combatants. Asafa made a valiant but desperate attempt to grab the gold for himself and country, but he could not hold off Moibin. Moibin crosses the line amid much confusion, the winner in a time of 2:10:48, as Asafa would have to settle for second place and the same time but at least a personal best. The women's race would find Abeyo still leading the challenge to set a new course record as she breaks the tape in a time of 2:26:12. Athletics Now heads back to Texas and the city of Houston for the 40th edition of the Chevron Houston Marathon. An early morning start and the electricity of more than 20,000 runners were on hand to motivate a patrol of American-based Ethiopians to rewrite the Houston record books. On the women's side, it was hot right from the start as Ethiopian Alamatu Abera left Australian and Olympia Benita Johnson behind by the 3-mile marker. Benita would hold on for second in a day of Ethiopian victories. In the men's race, it was a pack of 5 that included 4 Ethiopians and 1 Kenyan that flew through 10 kilometers in less than 30 minutes and 15 kilometers in 44 minutes, 45 seconds. This heated pace soon sent the Kenyan, Festus Langat, to the trailing group as the front runners were now all Ethiopians, sorting out the podium money. This was in stark contrast to the women's race of Abera. However, back on the men's side, 27-year-old Tarku Jufar brought game to the race today and made the big move from his compatriots at the 35-kilometer mark. Running alone to the finish and breaking the tape and a course record of 2:06:51. Abera extended the record-breaking melee by finishing in another course record for women in 2:23:14. Athletics Now heads to Israel and the Sea of Galilee for the 35th edition of the Tiberas Marathon. The Tiberas Marathon attracts a surprisingly good field of top runners every year, and this year was no exception. Former Congolese, now French citizen Patrick Wambi headed a quality field of runners to a new course record this year. Patrick fronted a hat trick of runners who invaded the 2:07 barrier for the course record this year. Seville, Spain was host of the International Italica cross-country meeting, which presented a top women's field, but women's 10,000-meter world champion Lynette Masai quickly destroyed all challenges in the women's 8K race. She posted a time of 25:40 to take the win. The men's side was a lot more exciting for fans who appreciate a thrilling race to the wire. Under rare, windy, and rainy conditions for southern Spain, the men's race opened to a sleepy Sunday tempo, led by a pack of East Africans, including Ugandans Moses Kipsirio in the red racing jersey. Spain's new emergence, Ayad Lamison, was also in the mix, along with 2-time winner Leonard Koeman. But the athletics pundits were taking notice of the world junior cross-country champion Jeffrey Kipsang as he fixated on the lead from the opening lap and refused to share the load. Kipsang dictated not only a slow pace, but also the injection of a toll that only the Ugandan was ready to follow. Moses soon realized his tactical mistake, as the dominant Kipsang was soon to drop him, only to have his presence replaced by a 27-year-old Kenyan, Albert Rapp. But Kipsang was vigilant still and ignored the challenge of the 13:05 5,000-meter runner from Kenya. When the finish line was in sight, Kip Rapp injected another round of defiant speed and had his way with his compatriot, crossing the line in 30 minutes 58 seconds for 10,800 meters.